Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video. Now I'm just finishing digging the very last bits of the allotment because earlier this morning we finished the other vegetable bed, which means that my dad can now plant out his onions and his shallots. He'll also be sowing some salads. I'll be planting out my gladioli bulbs and I'll also be sowing some chamomile as well.
Today I'm planting some onions. Now you can either buy onions as sets or seed. I always buy mine as sets, which is a very small, a very young onion bulb basically. You can start them off by sowing some seed. You have to do that in November and it takes an awful long time to bulk them up to that stage. I always find it a lot easier just to buy the sets. I always start them off in trays, modular trays. Bought the onions middle of February, put them in the trays very end of February, and you can see we've got quite a nice root system on them. A bit too much root really, but we are a little bit late planting them this year. Now these onions are Stuttgarter Giant. I've grown these for years and they always produce a really nice big onion. I've got some shallots here as well. Now shallots are a little bit different, a little bit bigger they are, and you can see they've got a lot of growth there. Now onions just bulk up and they get bigger and bigger. Shallots will produce little shallots around the outside, little onions around the outside. So again they end up like that, but they've got lots of little bulbs. I only plant about 12 of these, just right for the pickled onions at Christmas. Right, now these, I always put these in just so the tip is pointing out, sticking out, nice and firm. If you put them in without starting them off, obviously you don't have to start them off in modules, just again put them in with the tips pointing out. The only problem is the birds think it's like a little worm, so they'll come along when you're not on the allotment and pull most of them out. A little bit annoying. You know, when you come back in the next day and all your onions are all over the place and you think, what's going on here? It's the birds that do it. So I always put them in like that. The shallots I will put in the same way. Forgot to mention, put them in about, especially this variety, put them about 9 inches apart. As they grow quite big, gives you a bit of room to run the hoe around. Now, saying about hoes, I got this last year and it's perfect for going in between the onions. This is even more special, this one, I say special, it's left-handed. Because obviously I'm well not obviously, but I am left-handed, so it makes it a lot easier to go like that around there. Obviously you can run the big hoe, these are 9 inches apart, the rows will be about 14 inches apart, so you can run the large hoe down the middle and then use that to get in between. Fantastic. Right, let's carry on. Right, that's the onions in. Just need a really good watering now, and then it's on to the next job. We don't usually sow salads on the allotment because we're not usually here in the summer because we do the garden shows and it all dries out and just everything bolts, so it's not really worth it. But this year, slightly different. We'll be here to water and keep everything under control. Now I'm going to do one row here, but I'm going to split the row into two. And we're going to do some spinach there, variety cello, which is a variety which is slow to bolt, and we're going to do some spring onions there, which is white Lisbon. In this row we should be putting some lettuce. We're going to sort of successional sow. We're going to split it into three. I'm going to successional sow every 2 or 3 weeks, something like that. I've already got some at home in the greenhouse, so we're not too worried about that at the moment. We just get on with this. Right, as I said, I've already pre-watered the drill, so it's just a matter of sowing, closing the drill up, and that's that. Right, that's that. All my jobs are done, so now I'm off home.
So I'm up the allotment nice and early. I wanted to get up here before the day really started so I can tick some jobs off my list. Now the first job on the list is to sow some chamomile, and I'll be sowing one row here and one row down the bottom side of the path there. Now I've grown chamomile before over on the old plot, but it's only ever been 2 plants and it was in a very, very small trough. And this is the first year that I'm able to grow more flowers in larger quantities, so I can grow 3 metre row of cosmos, and it's completely new to me. Completely new to me. I've never grown flowers in such big quantities before, so it's going to be a pretty exciting year. But anyway, I'm going to grow chamomile this side, chamomile down there. There's going to be some Swiss chard there and some calendula that side, but I've sown both of them at home in the greenhouse. And the main reason for us planting pretty looking crops down the sides of our path is all because of RHS Wisley. Now me and my dad visited there last year, I think it was late summer, at the RHS garden show, and it was beautiful. I don't think we'd ever been there before, and we went around the kitchen garden and we were just blown away. It was, I think we both agreed that it was our favourite kitchen garden ever. And it was just so inspirational, and I think it was the main inspiration behind the way this allotment looks, because in their kitchen garden they had a more relaxed feel. They didn't have set rotational beds. They grew their brassicas next to their roots and then a row of flowers, and it was absolutely beautiful. So that's what we've based our allotment around. Hopefully we'll be able to get it looking a bit like RHS Wisley. But yeah, they had these flowers and chard and beautiful looking crops either side of their pathway, so they sort of overspilled onto the gravel path, and yeah, it was lovely. So I wanted to recreate that here. Now chamomile I am sowing is Beau de Gold. It's a hardy annual, and you can sow it direct outside in the spring from March to May, or you can sow it direct from August to October, or you can start it off indoors. But I'm going to try sowing it outside because it's quite a large row there. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. It says on the packet to sow directly, surface sow directly, with 15 centimetre spacing in all directions. But as I'm just sowing one row, I've just made a slight little drill. I'm going to sow it thinly into that drill and then just cover it ever so slightly with some soil. I've never scattered seeds on the soil before, so I was a bit dubious of that, so I'm just going to cover it with a little bit of soil. And what I've also done is I've pre-watered the drill as well, because chamomile seed is so fine. I think it's one of the finest seeds I've ever seen, and I didn't want the water to wash them away once I had sown them. Obviously, if you sow too many in the row, you can just thin them out at a later date. And they should be fine if we have any frosts. But the sun's just showing its face now. It's going to be a lovely day. And I've always loved gladioli, but over on my old plot I didn't plant that many. I think the maximum total of bulbs I had over there was about 5, and they were randomly dotted around, so they didn't look very good. But I remember a few years ago now, the neighbour in front of this plot grew a whole row of gladioli, and I remember it just being the most beautiful thing, because you don't often see them grown in such big quantities. So I thought, now that I have this space, I would grow a row of my own gladioli. So there's a 3-metre row here, which really means there's room for 30 bulbs. But what I've done is I bought 50. So I will sow a row and a half here side by side. Now, we went to a garden centre about 3 weeks ago, not for gladioli bulbs, for something completely different. But these were actually reduced, and you can't really walk past reduced bulbs in a garden centre. So I bought some, and I think in the end they were like 5 for 50p, which is amazing. So I bought 6 different varieties in those bags, and then I also bought 2 more bags. There's 10 of each in these bags, but I loved the colours. This one is a really nice lime green and it's called Prima Verde, and then this one is a deep purple called Mombasa, and I just thought it would match my shed. Also, they go really nice together, so I've got a thing for green flowers. So I've got those two there, and then I bought these ones individually. Like I said, they were 5 for 50p. Now the best thing to do if you're buying your bulbs individually is always write the variety on the bag. We do the same with the potatoes, just so you don't get them mixed up. What I've also done is written the varieties in my allotment notebook, and I've popped the colours down next to them, because I won't be labelling all these gladioli individually. I'll be placing them in their rows, just labelling it gladioli. So what I'll do is when they bloom, I can look back at my notebook, see which colours they are, and then know the names, because they're all different colours. So let's just go through the varieties here. It's this one. So this one is Fidelio. That's a really bright cerise pink. Then we've got Burgundy Plum Tart, which is obviously a burgundy maroon colour. White Prosperity. White, I think the names are quite self-explanatory sometimes. And then we've got Red Tradahorn, red. Peter Pears, which is a orange, but it's like a sunset, really deep orange. It's absolutely lovely. And then Nova Lux, which is a yellow. So we've got a nice variety of colours there. Now it's the job of planting them, and what I have done is I decided to dig a shallow trench. Now gladioli bulbs only need to be planted about 4 inches deep and 4 inches apart, so they're nice and simple, nice and easy. You can use a trowel or a dibber, but I just thought because I've got so many of them, it would just be a lot easier for me just to dig the shallow trench with my spade and just lay them in there. And then all I'll do is I will cover them up, give them a water, and wait, patiently wait for them to bloom. I don't know if I'm going to put them in their colours or mix them up. It's a tricky one. I think I might put them in their colours to create like a sort of rainbow. So let's do that. Let's start with the green one, my favourite one. And then after I've done this, I'm going to have a cup of tea because I am absolutely parched. Right, time for a brew, I think. I've forgotten how nice it is to come up here this early in the morning. I haven't seen a single person, And apart from the really distant traffic noise, all you can hear is the birds. And it's beautiful. It's going to be a lovely, lovely day. I think it's going to be quite a hot one as well, so it's probably best to come up early in the morning anyway, just to beat that heat. But I'm glad I got the Gladioli in, glad the Chamomile's sown. I just need to sow that last row just in front of the path where the Gladioli was planted, and then I think I'm going to go home and enjoy Easter Sunday, have a little bit of a day off. But no, it's been lovely, and we've really been cracking on. We've completely finished digging that bed over there now where I just put the Gladioli in. The last bit to dig is just here, and it's quite a small patch, so I think if me and my dad tackle it together like we have been doing, it's not going to take long to dig at all. And then all the digging is done, and I think we're just going to have a little celebratory party on the allotment, maybe a little barbecue or something, just to celebrate all the digging being done, because it's been quite hard work. And then once that patch has been dug, the next job to do is to move the shed over, and it's going to be going here. Obviously this bench won't be staying here, this is my dad's bench. It usually goes in front of his shed, but it's a little bit messy there at the moment. We need to tidy that up. But the shed will be going here where the bike is. I'm so excited to move it over. I look over there and I see it sitting there by itself on a neglected plot, and I just want to move it over. It looks so sad. So yeah, it'd be good to move that over. I think the weather is forecast to be lovely for the next 2 weeks, so that would be good, because I need to empty the shed out, move it over, and then sort everything out and put it back in. So it's gonna take a good day, I think, to move the shed over. But what I did do in January, I don't know if I said this already, but I did level the area out, but then it was really wet, and when you walked on it, it was like walking on a waterbed. But it's completely dried out now. All I need to do is just rake it off and make sure it's level still before laying the paving slabs down and then moving the shed over. So yeah, we just wanted to get that digging done, get things planted. I'm really happy with the way things are looking. Really happy. Now the beds are sort of done, it's going to be time to focus on this area behind me, which is going to be good. And then yeah, I cannot wait to see it all bloom this summer. Hopefully it's going to look beautiful. But anyway, I'm going to enjoy my cup of tea, enjoy that bit of peace and quiet. But I really hope you enjoyed that video, and I will see you all next time.